Okay. Both things are recording. Both things are recording. Alright, guys, it wouldn't be me until I said something that was the most important information for you to know about me. Is that I currently have strep throat. I'm sick. Yes. Anyone else like that? Anyone else turn into like a complete baby when they're sick? It's like you both want to be alone, but you want everyone to know that you're sick. Like you just like want everyone to, I don't know what it is. Like I want people to take care of me, but I need you to, like, I need to be isolated. It's weird. Or I just like want people to know that I'm sick. Be like, I'm going through it, guys. I don't know, like, is that just me? Or at least, like, I don't know. I feel like if I had, like, a significant other, I just know that if I was sick, I would be so annoying. Like, I would expect them to do everything for me. I'm gonna be so real. I would expect them to put the cup to my mouth. You know, I would expect breakfast, lunch, dinner. Sorry. I got these like throat lozenges. Lozenges. I don't know, like helps with your throat. And oh my god, they are so good. They are so good, and they're honey flavored, and they're just like good honey. All right, like if you're watching the video right now, I'm gonna put it up to the thing. These things, soothing lozenges. It's made with honey, vitamin D, which I just learned about that in school. I look like a horse. My hair is so thick today. All right, guys, if you need to roast someone, just go to the video and watch me talk at this point. Like, I have a horse tail. But I learned about vitamin D today in school. So I know the benefits of vitamin D. So that's so great for me. But yeah, no, these are really good. They're amazing. But how's it been with my strep throat? I know you guys are wondering. It hasn't been the best. It has not been the best because I've been in my house alone while my sister's like out doing her thing for the weekend. I was supposed to go back home for a little, like to the hometown. And I just couldn't do it. And yeah, so we're hanging in there. We are. I feel like my face is like giving green. Like it's giving green. It's giving seasickness. And we did sleep well last night, but I had a burst of energy, and now I'm slightly feeling the decline. But I wanted to record a podcast, and I didn't know what I was going to talk about. I actually had 2 ideas, and I'm still trying to figure out what it's going to be. And maybe I can combine them. But yeah, I wanted to like do something other than sit in front of a TV. So I was like, let's just like film a podcast, okay? And that is that. You know? This is my first time having strep too, so it's like a new experience, and I love new experiences. So now I can say that I have strep, and it's just like, it's like now I'm in the club. You know, but the worst thing in the world is a sore throat. Again, I don't know if you homies out there are like the same, but I don't even know if I should be talking at this point, but you can't shut me up, guys. Sore throats are, I think, the worst thing. Oh my god. Bella's just like staring at me and snoring so hard. Girl, same. Yeah, no, I like two things I hate in this world regarding like when you're sick is throwing up and having a sore throat. And at this rate, I would rather throw up than have a sore throat. There is something so catastrophic about swallowing, and it's just painful. And even if it's just like zero point 0.2 seconds of your day of that like painful swallow, but obviously you're doing it multiple times a day, so that's why it's just terrible. I don't know. I hate it. I hate having it. It's just so uncomfortable. But at this point, I'm like honestly so used to it. Okay, so let's shut up and let's get into what we're talking about. Maddie, decide. I had two ideas on what to talk about. And I'm going to go with my gut because I feel like I want to talk maybe more in like a chill manner instead of getting deep. But again, maybe this will just turn into both combined. Anyone else hate small talk? Raise your hand. I see your hand raised. I hate small talk with everything in me. And let's pause there. I hated. Oh, past tense. It's not my favorite thing, but I wouldn't say I hate it as much now. But I used to hate small talk like more than anything in the world. And I know I've like talked about this before, and I'm very I wouldn't say passionate, but I'm very vocal about my social anxiety, because it was such a profound thing in my life, like growing up, where just being in public and having to talk to someone that I didn't know, or even if I did know, but still feel like I had to like maintain a social poise, just freaked me out my entire life. And I feel like now I'm getting my bearings with it and realizing like this whole time I've just been viewing the other person as more like superior than me, and like it's kind of like a self-worth thing. Like Bella, keep staring. I love you. Or you're just blind. I'm not sure yet. Sorry. But I've been viewing myself as like the inferior person of the conversation. Therefore, it gives me like so much anxiety where I feel like I have to like maintain a conversation. I feel like I have to be the one to like keep it going, yada yada yada. God, where was I going with that? So yeah, like my entire life I just always hated small talk. And I just always hated talking to people, even though I was a very social person. Like if you get to know me, damn, I'm a good time, you know? Like I will talk to you, but always in the back of my mind I was like, how am I going to keep this conversation going? Like what do I say next? I was always thinking about what I have to say next, and I know so many people are like that. And it wasn't just meeting like or like getting my hair done and getting like nervous about having to talk to like the hairstylist for hours. It was genuinely like relationships I had as well as a kid. I feel like it was more like middle school, high school time. And even if it's just like acquaintances, I'm like, oh my God, like I have to talk to them in class or something. Like if there was like a barrier that was broken, that's great. You know, like you got my full attention. I don't need to be a certain way. Like I'm comfortable. But even if it was just like an acquaintance and we're like maybe hanging outside of class, I'm like, this is scary. That was me. And small talk is it can just be a horrifying experience. Because also there are people that are like, I don't care about the surface level stuff. Like I want to get into the deep shit. I don't know if I would say that was me, but I feel like I never liked like the awkward, I'm starting to feel like I'm declining. I won't lie. I think it was just that initial awkwardness that scared me, because I hate feeling awkward. I guess this could kind of go along with, like, we can just like dive into like the the world of being awkward and awkwardness and shit, and how it's like actually you can't prevent awkwardness. I always used to try and prevent awkwardness because it's just it like makes me in fight or flight mode, honestly. Like anytime I'd feel not in control of like how a conversation could go or how a situation could go, it like just makes me nervous. And I feel like that's why I hated small talk, or just like knowing that a long conversation is coming, is because there was a chance where it wasn't going to go how I planned it to go. And if anyone like called me awkward, I would kill them in my mind. Like, I would be so mad. I would take that as the biggest insult ever. I'm pretty sure, like, I've remembered, I don't know, like, the actual people. Oh, yeah. I remember this one time, and it was literally, like, a year ago. I'm getting mad now, and I'm, like, trying to not. Okay, this guy called me awkward, and the way that my blood started boiling, because I'm like, you don't even know me. You don't even know me. I'm getting the chills. You don't even know me because I mirror you, bitch. Okay? I mirror you. If you don't know me fully, I will just give off the vibe that you give me. Okay? So if you're calling me awkward, bitch, you're awkward. Alright? So this guy called me awkward, and I took it as an insult, alright? And I'm still working through it, clearly. Like, it still makes me angry thinking about it. It just pisses me off because, like, I also thought we were friends, and then we were, like, playing some game, and it was, like, a question of, like, ranking. There was, like, multiple people in the room, and it was, like, ranking the, most and least awkward person in the room or something. And he put me as the most awkward, and it was just, like, a humiliating experience, because I'm like, you don't even fucking know me. You don't know me. I'm not awkward. But I've just always, like, tried to avoid awkwardness, because it then just makes me feel like I'm not in control. I'm not in balance. So that's, like, a little backstory, you know. And that's why I think my social anxiety also was really bad, because I was in just, like, just being in, like, school and doing extracurriculars. Like, you meet a lot of people, and you have a lot of small talk. Small talk meaning more than just, like, talking about the weather, but small talk as in, like, okay, you see this person every day, you're not that close, but you talk to them. That's small talk to me, right? It's not like you're, like, deep diving into their fucking family history. So I've just been in a lot of situations where I was just having a lot of small talk with people, and it was just, oh my God, it was just so scary. And I think it's because I had this perspective on it where, like I said in the beginning, I was inferior and they were superior. It could literally even be a child in front of me. I felt inferior to them or something, you know? So it didn't even have to do with age, which that is a big thing, though. Like, I am so terrified of talking to adults, or just people with a actual superiority, like, level. That shit scares me. But besides that, like before, it could have been any person, any age, where just like talking to them, knowing that it's not gonna go anywhere besides like surface level, I would get so scared about it. I used to plan conversations, like especially with my teachers. I feel like again, just like anyone who had like an actual role above me, I would 100% like plan my conversations, or even like hanging out with friends that weren't really like my best friends outside of high school, but like we were friends, right? So we're gonna like hang out, maybe get some coffee. I would plan those conversations in my head, like, okay, it can go this way, it can go that way. Let's make sure I ask them about this. Or even with, I mean, men, boys, first off. Boys as in like, I'm referring to boys as in just like these immature men. But like, I could not talk to them for more than like 30 seconds without like disassociating and not sound, and like probably sounding awkward. Like maybe I am awkward. We'll get to that. But anyways, I used to plan because it would make me feel in control. And now, we're here now, right? Like, how do I feel about small talk? How do I feel about those like awkward conversations? They're not my favorite thing. I'm not going to choose, really, honestly, to like, I wouldn't choose to small talk anyone any time of the day. Like, that's not me. But I now have removed this role of me feeling so inferior to everyone. And like, in general, of just being like, I'm not as interesting. This is it. Like, I'm not as interesting as you are. Therefore, I'm going to be the one to, like, plan the conversation. Like, I'm going to be the one to, like, ask the questions because you're the higher person right now. Like, you are cooler than me. You're more interesting than me. So I'm going to be the one to, like, ask you the questions. I'm the inferior one in this conversation. I feel like that kind of made more sense, like, on how I used to be. But yeah, now I feel like I've removed this role of me in conversation with, I don't know, like a like if I'm going to get my nails done, or a hairstylist, or my manager, or like a coworker, that I'm not automatically like the least interesting person. Like, I'm not the inferior one, right? And it's kind of changed how I've looked at like my social interactions and like getting to know people. And it's definitely something I work on like every day. Like, I can still get very anxious knowing that I like, I don't know, have to talk to a random person for like 5 minutes if it's like something random. I don't know. But it's a lot better than it was. Because like, I also like listened to a podcast about this, and I feel like that's why I want to talk about this, because it's made me like think a lot about it the past week, where like there's like this job we feel like to be interesting, whereas why can't we like have this curiosity and this interest, like this genuine interest about another human being like right in front of us. And I know that there are people out there that are just so good at talking, because I think they just had this genuine curiosity about the other person. Like, they don't see them as a higher person, more important. They don't see it like that. They see someone as another being, whether it's spiritual or not, just like another human. And they're like, I'm curious to know your story, or like, I'm curious to know how you think the weather is or something. Like, there are people out there that are so good with that, and I'm trying to see it that way, because it's so true. Like, I do have a genuine interest in people and in their stories, and even just the surface level stuff, but it always just used to scare me because I didn't know how the conversation was going to go. Like, are they going to ask me a question now? I didn't prepare for that. I did not prepare for that question. That's why I've always had, like, questions in my back pocket, because if there was ever a moment of silence, oh, okay, I have one. And I think that was also my fear, too, is, like, silence used to be very intimidating to me, and I'm trying to become more comfortable with silence, period. Mostly with people. I just feel like, I don't know if it had something to do with my childhood, but anytime there was silence, I just always assumed, like, oh, it's awkward now. I have to do something about it. I don't know what that manifested in, like, how that manifested into that. But silence used to be so terrifying to me. Like, if I was going out on a date, oh, there's silence. Oh my God, it's fucking awkward. No, there's silence because, I mean, if it's like, I feel like if it's like for long periods of time, if you're like on a first date or something, I think that's like kind of awkward. I don't know. But if it's like longer than 5 seconds, like, you will survive. Like, you don't have like to speak. You don't have to fill the silence. If anything, like, beauty comes from the silence, right? So, wow, I just like went off on a tangent. I don't even know where I was. But yeah, I guess I was just always trying to avoid silence, avoid awkwardness. And I think now I get excited to a point where meeting someone, knowing that there's gonna be, I think it's like accepting the fact, like, Maddie, awkwardness is inevitable, right? You're gonna have boring ass conversation for the first maybe few times, or maybe for just only the first couple minutes, about the weather or where you're from, because that's inevitable. Like, that just comes with the idea, like, the fact of like meeting someone for the first time, whether it's a coworker, whether it's like your hairstylist or something. But if you accept it as that, and then you like shift your mindset to, okay, so then I'm going to view it as like, I genuinely want to know, where are you from? How do you like the weather today? Or, you know, like, how long have you been in hairstyling? You know, like, I'm curious, because everyone has a story. And I guess it's just accepting the fact that silence happens. Awkwardness happens. It doesn't make you a weird person. If you're like hella awkward, you know, that's like a different thing. I'm talking more of just like, you know, the awkward silence that maybe like you guys are kind of like offbeat. There's like no like synchronicity in the beginning, you know, like when you're like having a convo with someone, when you're just meeting someone, like, that happens. All right. That doesn't mean that you are uninteresting. That doesn't mean that you're like not valuable to the conversation. If anything, if you're like viewing it as, okay, this happens, you feel so much more empowered and so much more of, I don't care, I'm gonna then accept it, and then you seemingly like make it not awkward, knowing that it might be awkward. I feel like if you worry so much about it being awkward, it's gonna be so fucking awkward, because you're worrying too much about the awkward, you know? I feel like that's how it used to be for me. Like, I would be so scared of the awkward, that it would just be awkward. A light bulb just kind of like, because now, like when I got my new job, I knew I had to meet people, meet like new coworkers. I knew I was going to be always working with someone else. And I, in the past would hate that. Like, I loved working by myself. That's honestly why I had a remote job for a while. I mean, I still do, but like why I got that remote job is because I knew it was, I didn't have to, I could talk to someone through like pinging, like through like typing, and then, some Zoom calls or whatever. But there was never a pressure to like be in the same room with someone and like just interact with them. And now, I don't know, like if I had to go into an office job, like I would be so fine, because there's something so exciting about creating human connection. Because at the end of the day, we all desire human connection, whether we're an introvert, whether we do have insane social anxiety, whether we love to be alone. Like at the end of the day, we crave human connection. Like it fuels us to some extent. Some is higher than others, but like having just like a good conversation, just like talking to someone else rather than yourself, we have no idea chemically, I feel like, what that actually does to our bodies, and even spiritually. Like it's so profound. Like, hold on, let me do like a physical check-in right now, because I'm like tired, but I'm yawn. So yeah, when I remember like talking about, okay, when I started my new job, I knew I had to meet a lot of people. Like I said, I knew I was going to be like working with someone always. And I could have viewed that as the worst nightmare of my life. Like I could have viewed it as, oh my God, this is going to be so awkward. I'm going to have to like talk to them the entire time. I'm going to have to like figure out what to say. If it's silent, it's just going to be terrible. Or I could view it as, this bitch next to me is just another human doing their shift, and we happen to be standing next to each other, and there's no need to fill every single minute of the hour saying something to each other, because one, we're going to get so tired of each other, and two, it doesn't seem natural anymore. So like I decided I'm going to view it like that. I'm going to view it as, they're another human. I'm not inferior to them. I'm just as interesting. My silence, maybe if I don't talk for a little, maybe that makes me look more like I know what I'm fucking doing. Maybe that makes me look more chill, more just, I'm here to get my shit done. I'm not here to like please the person next to me and be like, so tell me about your day. What'd you do this weekend? Like, oh my God, so tell me, do you like, what does your brother do? And is he married? Does he have any like trauma, Because then it just removes any sort of like natural connection. So I decided to view it as the right way. All right. And it's helped me so much, because I'm now like starting to develop like a friendship with these people, because I'm viewing them just as like when I go into the shift, like when I go into the shift, whoever it is, we talk when we want to talk. We talk when something comes up, and it's very refreshing, because then when something comes up and you have a question, then ask them that, of course. And then like something bounces off of that, and now you're like making plans instead of like asking what your brother's trauma is, you know? So that was a big thing for me, because is it small talk 95% of the time? Yes. I mean, like, I don't know basically anything about like my coworkers to the extent of like my best friends, but that's so okay. That's so okay. And like, small talk is sometimes all people need in that moment. Like, I'm not trying to be asked like tens of millions of questions about my deep darkest secrets. So why do I think I should be asking someone else that? So honestly, in my 6-hour shift with someone, I'd rather it be just like random ass small talk than therapy. And that's kind of, it's changed me. It has. And now I don't think of small talk as a very scary thing. I really don't. I try and remember, like, I don't necessarily have a role in this. I'm just a human who is talking to another human who has a story. And even if it's like, even if we're not unpacking the story, there's still just like memories to them. There's still life in them. And like, they're not more important than me. Yeah. Is that kind of fucking good? What are some like small talk tips I can give? Like advice? Maybe like in different sections. Like, okay, so let's start with like, I don't know. You're going to go get your hair done. I don't know why I keep coming back to like getting your hair done, but I feel like that is a big one where people hate going to get their hair done, because it's like, you know, you're going to be in that seat for 5 hours. Do you keep a conversation? Like, for example, I would much rather prefer going to get my hair done at like a big salon than like a private salon, because a private salon means you kind of have to, I don't know, like, it feels like you're gonna have to talk to this person this entire time, because if they don't have music on, it's just you two in that private house they're in, and that can seem awkward. Like, I totally get that. I've had many experiences with that. And I haven't had one recently, but I used to do that. And I think when it came to like hair, I definitely gave up at a point where I'm like, I am not going to talk right now. I didn't say that to them, but like, I definitely got so tired of trying to keep a conversation that I'm like, I'm just going to go silent. Like, there's no way that this person behind me also wants to be talking constantly. Unless they have a question, right? And, like, that's their job. You know, they, like, I feel like most hairstylists, like, they definitely have more, maybe talking skills than I do. But there came to a point when it was, like, when I was getting my hair done all the time, I'm like, I'm going to stop talking. Like, I cannot for 5 hours, like, truly, I can't do this. I don't know why there was a difference with that than in regards to, like, I don't know, something else where I felt like, oh my God, I have to talk to them the entire time. But when it came to hair, I was just like, I've done this so many times, like, focus on my hair, please. Don't focus on what I, like, what I'm going to do with my life, okay? Because also, one lady, she was talking to me way too much because I was talking to her back, and she fucked up my bangs. This was like a few years ago, and that's kind of changed me ever since, because I'm like, focus on my hair, babe. Okay? You don't need to know anything about me. So there's that. Basically, like, go into a hairstylist, just know, hair salon, nail appointment, eyebrow, whatever you homies like to get done, genuinely don't talk if you don't want to. Like, I'm not even kidding. They will ask you the questions if you have a genuine interest to know something in that moment, like, how long have you been doing this for? Ask them, sure. But feeling like you need to, like, maintain a convo, I swear to you, they don't really care. They know you're in the chair and you're just, like, relaxing from life for a little. There's some affirmation on that, okay? Don't feel like you need to talk. What's another thing? Maybe, like, acquaintances. What have I learned about that? Acquaintances meaning, like, I don't know. Define acquaintance, honestly. I feel like I view anyone as a friend after I've met them once, because I'm like, give me a friend. An acquaintance. I don't know. I just feel like it's, again, just knowing. I guess, like, an acquaintance would be my coworkers, but like I just said, it could be coworkers, acquaintance, whatever. Knowing that they are just a human. They are not more superior than you. Meaning, talk when you want to talk. Be silent when you want to be silent. I think there's definitely, like, it's a give and take. Like, don't be so silent. I don't know. Like, it's good to give into a conversation. It's good to ask questions. All right. Okay. This is a big one. It is so good to, like, ask questions and not feel like you have to, like, let the other person come at you with them, because I've always felt like that, where I'm like, the way that I ask everyone questions and no one asks me a goddamn question. So it's good to give and take. It's good to read the room. Be like, okay, where are you from? Or if it's like an acquaintance or something, it's like, what are your hobbies and shit like that? And not know that no one is more important in this conversation, and that, like, you don't have to say anything back if you don't want to. But it's also like, all right, like, give a little, I guess. Like, don't put it all on them now that you've, like, mastered small talk or, like, accepted the awkwardness. Because the person that you're talking to might also be so fearful of awkwardness, where it's like, you just got to read their vibe, okay? Let's talk about, like, dates or something. I think the biggest reason why I don't go on dates all the time is because I fear awkwardness. I fear the silence. I don't know. And I think it's because I've built up this idea so much of, like, the perfect first date, or, like, the perfect romance kind of thing, where it's like, it's never gonna be awkward. There's never gonna be silence. You're always gonna be, like, talking. And that can be true. I've had that, like, on some dates. But I've also had some dates where it is so silent, or it's just so awkward, where I'm the one my stomach is, like, growling at me. Hold on there, tiger, okay? Where I've been on some dates where I'm only asking questions and they're just not asking me, and that honestly is just like, okay, do you even, like, want to get to know me at this point? 2, I'm just, like, trying to, like, fill it up, being like, okay, so where are you from? Like, oh, that's nice. What's your sign? What's your Enneagram? Favorite color? And I don't know, dates just, like, I think it's for a lot of people, you have this idea that it's supposed to be so, like, easy. And dates aren't easy. Dates have awkwardness, babe. They do. And that's something that, like, is genuinely hard for me to accept, because it's also, like, I have had moments where it's not even a date. Like, if you put the title of date onto it, it's already just like the pressure is high. But if you, like, just end up vibing with a guy, a girl, a they, them, babes, if you just like initially vibe with them and you're talking to them and there is like some silence and there is like some, I don't know, like slight awkwardness because there's tension, you know, you guys are flirting, it's cute, it's not as scary. And that's like what I've realized, because I've had that happen. Like, I've like been on a date with someone, but I wouldn't even call it, no, it wasn't even a date, but like we ended up like hanging out the night, you know what I mean? And it was just like, and this is, I feel like this honestly has happened with like a couple people. It's never been like claimed as a date, but we've just somehow ended up, I don't know, like just like talking most of the night. And it was just like, sure, was there like maybe like some pockets of silence? Yeah, but knowing that it wasn't like a date where there had to be like this end result of, are we going to go out again? It made it seem so much more chill. Like, oh, you're just someone I'm talking to who's really fucking cute. All right. So when it comes to dates, if you are actually going like on a date, take away that idea in your head where it's supposed to be so smooth and easy. 'Cause like, it's not all the time, right? Like if you want to do things like for the plot of your life, have an awkward date. The date might be weird. You know, it happens. And this is like truly a reminder for me too. I'm not a date person. Some people just don't like dates. And I love dates, but I don't like first dates. I think that's what it is. Like, because like once you like go out with them more, you kind of like get their manners, you kind of get their vibe. And like if there is like some like if there is like some silence, like it's not as bad as like the first time you meet them and then you're like, get me the hell out of here. If we're talking about like first dates, just get that idea out of your head where like you're supposed to be talking all the time. And this is one, don't go out to eat for your first time, because then you are putting so much pressure on the table and putting so much pressure on the person in front of you. Because when you're going out to eat, like, you feel like you what's the word I'm trying to figure out? You subconsciously feel like, okay, we have to be talking this entire time. Like, we're not close enough to just like eat in silence yet. I feel like I went on a date like a few years back and we went to go get sushi, and I really liked this guy. And it actually wasn't as bad, but I also knew, looking back at it, I was like, I wish we didn't go get sushi, because the entire time I was like asking him questions, and I'm pretty sure they were just questions that I really didn't need to ask. I was like, so did you know, like in high school, like, did you think I was cute? Did you know that I had a crush on you in high school? Like, I exposed myself so hard because I was just trying to find anything to say. That's so awkward. That's so awkward. Good thing I'm pretty. But you know, it's like, first off, no matter what, first dates, just don't go to a restaurant, okay? Get that idea. Get that, like, or like go to somewhere where it's like super chill, where you're not like sitting in front of each other and just being like, so, unless you're just really good at it. But if you're someone who's like me, a little socially anxious, unless you want to like do better and like work on it, like, I just wouldn't suggest like going to a restaurant for the first time. But if you were, or just first dates in general, then just know that like the person is not better than you. They are not more interesting than you, in a way where it's like, they could be interesting, but babe, do you know how interesting you are? Do I know how interesting I am? You know, like, it is an honor to get to know me. All right? So let there be silence where the other person has to be like, so like what do you like to do for fun, instead of me being like, not even letting there be 5 seconds of silence and being like, okay, what can I ask them next? I'm working on that literally every day, especially when it comes to like romantic people. Even if it's like I'm going out, and I think like when I have liquid courage in me, like I could small talk my way through anything. If I'm at a bar and I'm a little crazy right now, if I'm feeling a little tipsy or something, like I will talk to anyone. And I think that's fantastic because I'm like, hey, like, what do you got there? I love your scarf. I love it. Oh, you have beautiful eyes. Like, and then I'm like, so what do you do? That the whole like fear goes out the window. But unfortunately, I can't be drunk 24/7. I can't. Not that I want to, but So they're not more important than you. You are just as interesting. And we have to stop trying to prove to someone that wait, what was the quote? It's like, be more interested than interesting. And I feel like that can be up for interpretation a lot, like how you take it. But I view it as like, if I was to look at it through a way of like small talk and like knowing I'm going to have a conversation with someone, it's like, be more interested than interesting, in a way where it's like, see that the person in front of you has so many stories, and don't try and be so interesting or something where it's like, what? Do you get what I'm saying? I feel like, okay, hold on. How do I explain this? Because I could also take that as like a negative, where it's like, be more interested than interesting, where it's like, okay, yeah, but I don't want to be always asking them shit because like I am interesting. But I feel like in a plain simple way, it's like, just try and find that desire for human connection, and then it would make talking to people so much easier. Damn, am I okay? Did this make sense? Did I have a good time? This is what happens when I like get on these rants. I don't want to stop, but then I'm like, Maddie, I think you have to, because who knows who's like listening to all of this. But this is like my little diary. My kids are going to be listening to this one day, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, small talk. We hate it. We do, but we have to do it. So why not change how we react to it and just accept for it. What am I saying? Accept it as it is, that it happens, and view it as an exciting thing. Like, ooh, okay, I get to talk to someone. What? So, yeah. I need food. I made blueberry chia pudding like an hour ago. So maybe I'll go eat that, but I feel like I want rice as well. I have to be eating soft foods. And I feel like I just talked way too much. Like, how are my lymph nodes doing right now? I don't know, guys. I feel like I'm at a turning point. Did I just have like a 24-hour strep? Knock on wood. Like, I do not want a fever. But anyways, I also have like a work call in 30 minutes where I, fingers crossed, might be getting promoted. So wish me luck. I didn't even drink my water. This is crazy. All right, well, thank you for listening, if you did. And I kind of hope you took something away from this. And, if you talk to me now and I'm still awkward, don't judge me. All right? I'm working through this. And I am interesting. And maybe I am a little awkward. Okay? Being awkward is kind of cute. All right? Being awkward is cute. Sometimes I'm awkward on purpose. I think that I used to use that as like a defense mechanism where I made it like awkward on purpose. I know I used to do this with like my crushes in like middle school and high school. Like, I would make it awkward on purpose so it wouldn't make me feel awkward. But yeah, being awkward is cute. It's kind of like a flirty tactic, to be honest. I feel like I kind of use that. I don't know. Maybe we could talk about like how to flirt in our next episode. How to flirt, because sometimes I feel like I'm a good flirt. And if you have flirted with me and you're listening to this and you don't think I'm a flirt, then fuck you. It's because you're not cute enough. I'm kidding. Okay. Bye, y'all. See you later.